All right, it's another edition of Frank Walks, and this time I got the legend of action sports, Travis Pastrana. You know, this guy has his Nitro Circus going on right now, and he's won countless X Game medals, set 6 Guinness World Records, and he is the ultimate daredevil. Let's take a walk with Travis Pastrana.
Thank you, Frank.
All right, so Travis, now you're in the middle of the Nitro Circus tour. Tell me a little about the Nitro Circus. What is it?
So Nitro Circus is basically the best in action sports, from skateboards, scooters, BMX. We have contraptions. We've got basically anything that we can possibly jump, flip, or fly in some way, shape, or form. We've got it going on. So, I mean, you have Olympians, you have top X Games gold medals, and you have just some people that are really durable. Everyone says, how do we get a Nitro Circus? Said you gotta be able to do something that no one else can do in the world, or you gotta be willing to try something that no one else can do in the world.
Now, I've seen flips in motorcycles, flips in cars, every type of flip you can imagine. I've seen some videos of this. Now, you've had injuries, of course. The legend Evel Knievel, it was said that he had broke every bone in his body at least once. Would you say the same experience is true with you?
Well, I've definitely broken more bones than most. You know, everyone says, how many bones? I said, well, if the doctor says you have 40 fractures over 7 bones, but it was 1 injury, is that like 1 or is it 40? Did you round up or down? So we just put that aside and say, is it worth it? And if it's worth it, you get back on that horse and keep going.
Now, how long have you been involved in action sports? I know we're going back to the X Games 25 years. Yeah,
so X Games, my first X Games that I was in was 1999. It was the first year that motorcycles were in. And yeah, ended up winning 11 X Games gold medals since then. Getting a little bit old now. At 41 is definitely old for a motocrosser. So, you know, just having some fun out here, more doing the announcing, doing the judging stuff. But at the end of the day, we have the best in the world here at Nitro Circus. And, you know, it's cool to see the next generation come up, working on safer landings, working on bigger takeoffs. If anything is done as a world's first, it's probably done by one of this crew.
Now, if I'm doing my math correctly, you were 16 years old when you competed in your first X Games.
Yep, won my first X Games gold medal at 15, so it was before I had my driver's license. But yeah, dirt bikes are a blast, man. They're a lot of fun. I was never good enough on the BMX bikes. Definitely loved BMX my whole life, so always inspired by what those guys were doing, and you know, just seeing some of the tricks that they could do on bicycles and scooters now. So scooters, they take it from scooters to BMX and BMX into motorcycles. It's been a blast. You
performed like the first double backflip on a motorcycle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, so double backflip was, I was able to do that first. We thought a backflip was the holy grail. And it was so cool because Kerry Hart, you know, he crashed a backflip at X Games in 2002, and he ended up marrying a rock star. He ended up marrying Pink, who was there watching the X Games because that was such a badass trick. And now they're doing triple backflips. 3 riders in the world have done triple backflips. And to make it even crazier than that, we had a 10-year-old girl come out to the house and land a backflip to dirt on a dirt bike, which is absolutely amazing.
I mean, it's incredible. I mean, you have a young audience, and it looks like you guys are like the people who get involved like at a very early age.
So almost every single person that's here in Nitro Circus started riding a bicycle or a motorcycle or whatever vehicle they're on, scooter, before they were 4 years old. Anything after 4 is almost late. So like, you know, so many parents are like, oh my gosh, my kid's, you know, 7 years old, they're too young to ride. It's like, no, they're probably starting too late, man. You gotta get on those things and start having fun at an early age before you're tall enough to fall too far.
Now, Nitro Circus is an X Games, but you've done almost anything you can imagine. I see you were involved in NASCAR and actually finished 11th in the Daytona 500 in 2023.
So NASCAR is completely out of my element. I'm not good with rear-wheel drive. I'm not good on pavement. But I'm like, I gotta be a good enough driver to at least qualify. So I qualified dead last, and my girl, who was 9 years old at the time, she's like, Dad, you qualified last. I'm like, but I qualified. And I just stayed out of trouble. I messed up really bad and missed my pit entrance. And by that mistake, I led a lap at the Daytona 500, which was awesome, last to first. Then went a lap down, got back on the lead lap and finished 11th. Was honestly, dream come true just to be a part of the Great American Race. But my specialty is dirt, off-road, anything where you can take more risks to go faster. It's kind of risk management. That's, if I could save my job, that's my job.
I mean, I see these rally cars,
Oh,
rally
yeah.
bikes. What's that about?
So rally cross is motocross with a roll cage, but rally is so much fun because you have a co-driver that tells you what's coming up, and you got to drive roads you've never seen before, or had 2 passes but have no idea what's coming up. And it could be snowing, it could be raining, cliffs on sides, dust, whatever it is, and you just got to go as fast as you possibly can down back roads. So we won 6 U.S. Rally Championships. That's where I shine when all hell breaks loose.
By far the craziest thing I saw was jumping out of the airplane without the parachutes.
You think jumping out of the airplane? Have you ever seen Point Break, the movie with Keanu Reeves?
A long time ago.
Yep. So I figured if Keanu Reeves could do it, it couldn't be too hard. We got it covered. But no, it was so fun because I jumped out, and it was a product test. At the time, I rode for a Red Bull, and I wanted to see if it really did give you wings. And I found out it's more like Toy Story. I was like Buzz Lightyear, fall with style.
Now, you mentioned that you're 41 now, and you're winding down your competitive career. Now, who are the big stars of the future that are part of the Nitro Circus? Who are the big stars that fans will be coming out to see that are going to be the next generation?
The biggest star in the world right now in action sports, winningest BMX big air rider on earth is Ryan Williams. Our Willie is the first one sign autographs when everyone shows up, and he's the last one sign autographs and everyone leaves. He started as a scooter rider. He still rides scooters, invents most of the tricks on scooters, and then takes them to BMX. The guy is absolutely amazing on a skateboard. He's good on rollerblades. He's just got better air awareness than anyone on the face of the earth. And for us in action sports, if we can do a world's first, that's huge. Our Willie does a world's first at almost every single show.
Now, who are some of the other big stars who are coming up, the new stars in the future?
Well, what's really cool is Cassie Boone is out here right now, and Cassie is one of the best FMX riders in the world, and it's really cool to see how many females are coming in. You got Adam Jones. He's been competing and competitive at X Games, winning medals since 2003. Still really at the top of his game, which is really cool. And you got a couple of the up-and-comers, as well as like Dusty Weigel. Shoot, you name it. If they're in this show, Curtis Downs. There's some guys like Curtis Downs that aren't as popular or haven't won as many like X Games gold medals, but they go out night in and night out on the contraptions doing stuff that no one else in the world has ever thought of. And they want to challenge themselves every night, which is really fun as an action sports athlete and someone that loves it to see someone pushing the limits at every race.
I mean, it's crazy. I look at this stuff and I go, it's just like mind-boggling, the flips and I've just started walking last year and I've lost close to 70 pounds already, and it's incredible. And I've always had my feet on the ground. I can never imagine myself ever doing anything like this. I never even learned how to ride a bike.
Well, some of the guys will actually be going down on big wheels and all kinds of kids' toys. The trikes are some of our most fun that we have. I wouldn't recommend trying it. They are extremely durable, which is definitely a quality that you need to have in action sports. But I tell you, if you take a stop right here, like if you look out here, well, we can keep walking, but this is really cool because on the far side, it goes up higher than we are right here, almost vertical, and they'll drop in on BMX and skateboards. Craziest thing, there's a guy, Beaver Fleming, one of the greatest skateboarders in the world. Now Beaver has to drop down and stay straight on a board down that almost vertical rolling.
For the record, I don't think he's related.
So really fun to see them set up. Now every Nitro Circus show is different. If you look at the ceiling height, we set up the ramps however big we can that the ceiling will hold. So they'll be going as high as the center of the ceiling up there on the dirt bikes.
So you get to maybe like a place, the Hartford XL Center here,
This is great. We can put in our biggest ramps here at Hartford. So we need to get some of the biggest ramps they do triple backflips on. We can't quite fit in here. You got to be able to go 85 feet off the deck. So Hartford here, we're pretty close to that. But we just don't have the run-in to get the speed.
Now, what are some of the big arenas you've been at that have had like
Oh, we've done football arenas all over the world, outdoor arenas. Been down to South Africa where we had 40,000 people. Just went down to Costa Rica this year where we had triple the amount of floor space. So we were able to make over-unders and all kinds of crosses. But it's, for me, I like this arena that's tight because you'll be able to pack the house. Everyone has a great view. No one has to be looking at the Jumbotron. They can see what's going on firsthand.
Nice. Now, what do you have coming up in the next year with the Nitro Circus? How long does this, what is a typical monthly tour?
So this tour is a pretty long tour. It's 30 stops. So they do probably 5 shows a week, 30 shows in total. And it's so much fun for the crew because every night they get to push themselves and they have a new crowd and they try to, it's basically like, you're trying to one-up your friends on tour. You're trying to one-up anything that's been done anywhere in the world. And you've got all this motivation, all this passion from these athletes that just want to be the best at what they do.
I've seen that you even have people who watch the Nitro Tour now actually joining the Nitro Tour. So it's starting to become full circle.
100%. The coolest part is we're seeing that a lot of the athletes and a lot of the fans of Nitro Circus, in the early 2000s now have kids. And their kids not only are coming to watch with them, and it's kind of like that bridges that gap of, grandfather to son to daughter or whatever that may be. But you're seeing all of these next generation of athletes. When we grew up, we didn't know we could backflip a motorcycle. These kids, the second they can watch TV, they're expecting to triple backflip. They're going to be doing quadruple backflips and spins and twists and stuff that we've never thought of because nothing is impossible with this next generation.
Now, with next generation, I just saw something on the internet that Tony Hawk is now a grandfather.
It's wild, huh?
And his son married Kurt Cobain's daughter, so his grandchild is the offspring of Cobain
and Tony Hawk. Oh my gosh.
90s child. I mean.
Yeah. That when they look at their parents, I mean, which is cool. I mean, not to the same level, but so I ended up marrying. Who was so 3-time X Games gold medalist, 2-time world champion. So when our kids look at, they're like, they expect to be able to do all of this stuff because they're like, well, mom does it. I'm like, look, mom rides a skateboard down that roll in. There's no way dad would ever try that, But, nothing's impossible to these kids. And, Kurt Cobain and Hawk, like that's cool.
I mean, especially now that you had snowboarding in the Olympics for years now. Now you got skateboarding in the Summer Olympics.
Yep, and BMX.
So it's just growing every year.
Yeah, really, really cool to see. Just how many kids, because when I was growing up, if you were on a skateboard, you were a hoodlum. Like, get off that thing, get a real job. Now, if you're good on a skateboard or BMX or scooter, parents are like, hey, you can be an Olympian. Let's go. Represent USA.
I mean, are there any other big stars you want to talk about and promote?
Honestly, I just think what's cool about Nitro Circus is that everybody that's here is passionate. And no matter if you're on a skateboard or a scooter or a BMX bike or a motorcycle, if you want to do something, there's someone here that's doing something on that equipment that no one else in the world is doing. And it's an honor for me to be a part of and so proud of how far this has come.
Well, thanks. And is there any charity things you want to talk about or?
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest thing, my dad was Marine. My wife's father was also Marine. And we have the boot campaign, which is, they've done so much, not only for veterans, but just learning about head injuries and stuff that's come all the way full circle to help a lot of athletes and action sports athletes. So definitely shout out to Boot Campaign for all they're doing to help the veterans that are protecting our freedoms and helping the next generation understand about injuries and how to prevent them.
Well, thanks. And you could, what website can you find the Nitro Circus at to find out tour information?
Yep, nitrocircus.com. Come on out, be a part of it. Like, it's always it's the boys that are excited to see it, but it's the moms and the parents that they leave and they're like, if my kid can be a part of something so passionate and they can potentially be an Olympian, they can go out and have fun. It's just an inspiring show. So come on out, have some fun, fun for the whole family, and hope to see you here.
Well, follow Travis Pastrana on the Nitro Circus, and I'll thank you for coming for this walk, and
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate you.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I've never watched action sports.
Are you staying for tonight?
Guys.
Oh, you're out. Okay. Well, one day.
But I was watching a lot of videos, and it's just amazed at what you do.
Well, I mean, it's been fun. Hopefully, we won't have an ambulance tonight.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Hey,
thank you for your time.
Thanks
really
again.
appreciate you.